So what we're doing, the 75 Hard Challenge by Andy Frisella. I've done it. I've completed it once. The reason I like the 75 Hard Challenge, because it's so hard. Going to be joining me in the gym, which is a new experience for him.
I mean, so I'm going to be out of my comfort zone.
Yeah. So what can you expect? A lot of on location. We're speaking into the phone, a video, a thought. And then if there's questions that come up, we'll address that.
God.
75 hard.
Yeah.
75 days of just getting after it, focusing on self, laying the foundation for a better life. Welcome to GVSV.
Join us on this adventure. My name is Alex.
My name's Carl.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
So it's Tuesday, day 23. Today's hot take is, boy, sometimes it's just a grind. So on 75 hard, you have to do 2 workouts, right? One, whatever you want, and another has to be outside. Since we started this, I've been mostly doing 3 a days. 2 in the gym and then the hike out and around town, loaded and unloaded, depending on terrain. But I've been working out for probably about 2 months before this, leading up to this, pretty regularly, to kind of prepare for the sudden increase in volume of work. And I'll tell you, the volume of food, volume of protein I'm taking in, the waking up every day before 6, waking up just before 4 a.m. on the weekdays, waking up 5:30 on the weekends, still doing everything I have to do during the day, and most of the times not getting adequate rest. And you feel it. You feel it dragging on you. It's dragging on me this morning with Alex, and I'm sure you could sense it. You could sense I get agitated every time he took out the phone to record. Because I'm not doing 75 hard as a piece of content. I'm doing 75 hard and just happens to be something that's also a piece of content. But my objective in the gym is not content. Or content creation. It's being in a mental state where I can maximize every rep. And this morning was like just pulling teeth. Didn't want to be there. Didn't want to work out. Didn't want a camera in my face. And it just felt sluggish. But what do you do? What do you do when the grind hits? And it's cliche as it sounds, you just got to grit your teeth and bear it. I mean, there's really no other option. You know, because you're going to have the excitement in the beginning. And my fitness company is kind of, encompasses that beginning excitement, and we focus on how we can go ahead and harness that energy day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out. That's difficult. And then in the middle of 75 hard, which is kind of we're getting into, is just Groundhog's Day. Every day, hundreds of grams of protein. Thousands of calories a day. I'm not high on calories. I'm only, just about 2,500 calories, which is not a ton for the amount of work I'm doing, but it's a ton of protein because we're leveraging the thermic effect of protein. So it is low carb, quote unquote. But I don't think of it as low carb because I'm not concentrating on the carbs. I'm concentrating on my protein. That's what I'm hitting. But getting back to the grind, it's just, there's no other way to get through it but to go through it. You can't hack it. You can't you can't trick yourself. You know it sucks, but you have to make a decision. There is a hack. I'm sorry. It sucks less when you make a decision to do it. When you take the ownership of that decision and you make the decision, not like that you're being led, but you're leading in your life, that makes it a little better. Having somebody who you're accountable to, that makes it easier. 100%, right? Way easier than it would be going by myself. And in that case, a lot of things about life, having somebody who you're accountable to, maybe somebody that's over you, but somebody who is there with you in the suck. Like when I was in the Marine Corps, when you have somebody who's just a shared experience of something sucking, now you're accountable. You feel accountable to that person because they're going through the same suck you are. And find that person for whatever it is, can be your accountability buddy. All right, and make it relatable. Don't make it just like your spouse. Don't do that, right? Especially if they're not going through it with you. All right, and if you have somebody who's going through it with you and that's relatable, or you're building a business with that person, or you're going to the gym with that person, whatever the case may be, that's fantastic. That's like the ultimate thing. All right, if you have this crazy great relationship with your spouse and they're in the suck with you, that's awesome. I cannot tell you how much you're winning in life. If you have nothing else but that in your life, you've won. You've won. But even if you don't have that, all right, if you have a good close friend or a friend that could be your accountability buddy, that's going to go through the trenches with you, man, that's the hack. That is the hack. I retract my previous statement. All right, it doesn't mean it's not going to suck. All right, but that shared experience of sacrifice. All right, and people always ask, why do veterans get along so well so quickly? Right, and there's a shared experience of sacrifice that all veterans have experienced. So that's my hot take. The grind is real. All right? And the grind includes Friday. That's what TGIF actually stands for. The grind includes Friday. It never stops. All right? Even on your quote-unquote rest days, you have to be planning for your next move. Right? There'll be times when you're less busy, and that can be considered resting. And resting can be a matter of perspective. But life is not lived on the couch. Life is not lived on the back of your feet. You need to be leaning into the motion. You need to be leaning into your life. You need to be leaning into your goals. Whatever the case they may be, they might not be physical goals, but everybody has goals. And if you don't have goals, get goals. Your life would be so much better if you had goals that you can go ahead and aspire to attaining. I say too much. People wish they had things, but then they don't do anything about it. What are the things you want in life? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? When you look in the mirror, what do you see? If you don't see the thing you want to see, how do you get there? Write down the goal at the top of the piece of paper. and then plan accordingly. And start executing. It's going to be a grind. Life is a grind. But the type of grind it is something that you get to determine. Please, please, please don't live life on the heels of your feet. Be upright. Be on the balls of your feet. Lean the in. Life is not a spectator sport, folks. You're either the man in the arena, or you're just merely existing. Well, that's my hot take. I got some weight to lift. Muscles ain't gonna build themselves. And I got to do.
Welcome back to GVSV. This is Alex and Carl. And
Just got done with a monster workout. Second real heavy workout in a row. For us, we changed things up because Hop Along here hurt his foot, so kind of metcons out of it for us. Any really push movement for legs out of it, so it's been kind of upper body centric when we're together. And on Tuesday I talked about just the grind of things and how when things suck and you feel like you're stuck in the mud, how you have to reach down deep, and that's where your character shows, whether or not you can get through that grind, whether or not, where do you perform, how do you perform when shit really sucks, like you really don't want to do it. How do you perform? Do you dig deep? Do you go through the motions? Do you stop?
I mean, I will say that over the last week, I could have stopped.
Yep, you could have been that person.
Yeah.
And then you would have hated yourself.
Yeah, no. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the only thing that was... okay. Luckily enough, nothing was broken.
Yes.
So the only thing that was preventing me from being here was me.
Well, even if it was broken, we're not working your toes out.
I know.
You go here in the boot, and none of the exercises would require your toes at all. Too many people stop their progress because they have an excuse or they perceive to be an excuse. You broke your foot. Okay, you're not going to be able to warm up like you normally do.
Yeah.
We have to figure something else out.
Yeah.
All right? And it might be band work sitting on a bench in the turf area.
Yeah.
All right? I've seen dudes on crutches in the gym doing upper body stuff.
Yeah.
All right? Because they're not going to take the easy way out. This excuse that's been handed to them. All right? And they could justify, quitting on themselves. They're not quitting on anybody else.
Yeah.
On themselves. All right? And then they're setting the example for those close to them that it's okay to quit when things get challenging. Which it's not okay to quit when things get challenging. It's only okay to go ahead, buckle down, and move forward. The only person you're cheating is yourself. Nobody else. And nobody buys your bull. Nobody. They might go, because it's easier that way. But they're not buying it. Deep down inside, we all know it's garbage. We all do. It's our character bases off of how we react to that, how we respond to that. Do we rise or do we fall? All right? And it's not always you're going to rise. Sometimes you're going to fall because you're human. All right? But it is the net sum of how many times you've risen to the challenge until you fail yourself. That is your character. You gotta remember that you're human, but at the same time, you can't give yourself the easy way out. Because if you always give yourself the easy way out, you're not living life. You're merely existing in it. And that, at all, is not life at all. These last 30 days, you've gone from very, very raw beginner to a more informed beginner.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
some of your movements have become more locked in.
Yeah.
Whereas some others, you still look like you've been working out with me for a month. Okay, so you've made gigantic leaps in your form, in your strength output. You've made gigantic leaps in your body composition. 100% you've packed on muscle. I
Well,
can see it in your shirt, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, I was taking a look at my day 1, day 28 progress photo this morning, and I could tell, like, definitely around the midsection, like, I'm starting to slim down. Even looking at the analytics as far as body weight and body fat percentage, I could see, like, over the course of the last year, like, it's this like drastic, like, drop off where it's like all of a sudden it's just like it's going up, it's turning around. Like,
so what does this mean? This means that if you hit 100% compliance in all things, you're going to have incredible results.
Yeah.
But 100% compliance all long term is not sustainable for 99% of the population.
Yes.
So when training, I preach 80-20. Like most guys and gals who are training, preach 80-20. You're going to get results, maybe not as drastic as 100% compliance, but it's sustainable over the long term. This is not supposed to be something that's a sprint. It's supposed to be something that you could do for a lifetime. 75 hard is very hard to do for a lifetime. The 75, he calls it the
life or 70.
Yeah, he has like a hard something lifetime program.
Yeah.
All right, where challenges continue. But from here, over the next 45 days, all right, we continue to ramp up volume, weights. Your calories are going to go up by 100 calories. Like I said, not much. It's all
like as after today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm putting it into it now.
And it's all protein.
It's all going to be protein. That's going to be the biggest lever we pull. It's going to be the biggest.
I know. No. That's easy here.
Yeah. Well, then you know what? We'll do it when you get back from
Okay.
Italy.
Thank you.
All right. So there comes a point where your body just doesn't need the protein, right?
Yeah.
But if you keep your body stocked full of dietary protein, is less likely to go after your lean tissue when you're in a calorie deficit, as we both are.
Well, that explains it, because like my body weight has stayed relatively consistent, but I could see on the impedance scale my body fat percentage is like trailing off.
Okay, so protein is roughly 30 to 33% more thermogenic than the other two macronutrients.
Yeah.
Well, 30 to 33% of the calories taken through protein is lost through digestion.
Yes.
All right, and metabolism. There's an argument in some circles that protein is not really 4 calories per gram.
Yeah.
That's more like 3. All right, but no, that's the biggest lever we pull. That's why I just throw a bunch of protein at the situation. In this situation here, where we have 100% compliance over 2.5 months to make the most drastic change possible in body composition. I'm not saying carnivore. There's plenty of carbohydrates to knock us out of any sort of carnivore idea, but if you just pull that big lever, right? It's the biggest dietary lever you can pull is protein. If you want to maintain some muscle, even gain some muscle for like a lifter like you, gain some muscle, lose body fat, stay in a caloric deficit, protein, sleep, hydration. Protein, sleep, those are like the big key things that we need to focus on. I'm on a stupid amount of protein.
You're at 300?
300 grams of protein. All right, and I took that from carbohydrates because I have goals past 75 hard.
Yeah.
Right, going to see my kid down in Florida.
Yeah.
All right, and your boy's not going to Miami looking fat. All right, so as a sports nutritionist, I'm pulling all these levers that I would never give you 300 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Just like I would never give anybody 300. Well, not anybody. There's some people who could definitely use it because of their body stature.
Yeah.
Gigantic human beings.
Yes.
All right, but me, 300 is just like, why? Why? Because it puts me in a further deficit. It's muscle sparing, and I want to lose a bunch of fat quick, right? But I don't want to starve myself.
Of course.
All right. So if you go too far down into the deficit, all right, you start to make your metabolism inflexible and starts holding onto calories.
Yes.
All right, and you don't want that. You want to have a metabolism that is really flexible, can take in all sorts of inputs, and not feel it has to scavenge. All right, and we do that by raising metabolic rate. We do that by adding protein, working out hard, sleeping, resting, getting plenty of water. All the things, the basic things work all the time.
Yes.
Right? Outside of like if you have some sort of condition, then we have to focus on, you know, what your condition changes in your body so we know how to pull levers differently. But for most of the population, which does not have these issues, we can pull some big levers, all right, and really maximize our time in the gym, our time in the kitchen, this truncated timetable to make the most impactful change, all right? And then once we come out of here, we come out of 75 hard. We're not doing 7 days a week, 2 a days. The calories have to reflect, the macronutrients have to reflect the change and output, all right? So depending on what the goals are for that point, the macronutrients will reflect, calories will reflect. Right now, it's about body composition change. In the gym, physically, it's body composition change.
Yes.
I'm looking to strip as much body fat off of our frames as possible while saving as much muscle as possible. That's why your protein number's oversized from what you're used to.
Oh, yeah.
That's why my protein number's oversized from what I'm used to. We're still in a caloric deficit. You're like at what, 2430, something like that, 2415, your calories?
My calories?
Yeah.
Like 2,200.
2200?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm at 2,500. All right. But when people think of caloric deficit, they think of sub 2,000.
Yeah.
When you're working out twice a day, all right, that's just not going to work. You're going to be in too big of a deficit.
That's true.
You know, so anywho.
If you could help us do all those YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe.
Tell your friends. Tell your family. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter. Day 28. Join us on this adventure. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.